Today I'm going to show you how to fold an origami horse. I'll begin by folding the paper in half, and you'll notice I align the top corners here, put a pinch in the center, and then push the fold, gently pinching all the way out to the corner. On one side, I flip the paper over, realign the top points there, top corners, and then once again push the fold out and gently pinch it into place. Once I'm happy with how the paper is positioned, then I'll put hard creases in using my fingernail against my index finger. Then I'm going to fold this paper in half once again to form a smaller triangle. Put heavy hard creases in with my fingernails. Then we're going to do a squash fold, and the easiest way I think to do that is by positioning the paper this way. Put your finger inside this little pocket, and then we squash right where that crease is. I'm just pushing it down. See how I'm squashing it downward? And it turns into a square shape. Now, there's different ways to do the next step. Basically, we want to replicate this fold on the other side. And I've now decided the easiest way to do that is to simply unfold this paper, put it back how it was, flip the paper over, and repeat that step on the other side. So I'm just putting my finger in the pocket, squashing it downward. Make sure the top corner aligns with the paper behind it. And then I'll gently push the paper into place before putting hard creases. And now when I flip it over, because we've already put this guideline crease in here, we should be able to simply put our finger back in the pocket and squash that fold back in place. And if you need to see that slower, just use the settings, the gear settings on the bottom of the YouTube player, and you can choose your playback speed and slow it down so you can follow more easily. Next, we're going to do the same folds on the front and back. So see how the top is where the paper is connected, the bottom is where the open flaps are. If you want to position your paper that way, I'm going to show you two different ways to do this next set of folds. The traditional way is we're taking the bottom outside edge and bringing it up to, but not over, the center line. And this again creates a guideline crease. So we're not going to keep the paper in this position once we fold it. We'll unfold it. I'm going to rotate it this way just because it's easier to then do the same fold on the other half of the same side. Like this. And again, I'm just gently pinching it into place. And when I'm happy with the placement, then I'll use my fingernails to set the crease. Now I'm going to unfold this paper. I'm going to open this flap, and right where the crease lines that I just made end, that's where I want to open the paper up to, like this, just approximately. The thing is, where we made these guideline creases, that's where we're going to fold now. And the paper will fold back on itself. I'm going to push with my thumb right there towards the center, and you'll see how the paper just folds back on itself. And then I'll very gently guide the paper in the upper section to do the same thing because it already has lines there. But they're a little harder to fold into place because it's a reverse fold, where we had folded it this direction before, and now we're bringing the paper over the other direction. We'll do the same thing on this side. So I'm just going to push the paper using my thumb to open the pocket a little more. See how the paper on the bottom just falls right into place. And then again, because we're folding in the opposite direction, I might need to guide the top paper up like that. So we end up with this shape. That's the traditional way. The way I do this fold, whether it's for the horse or the crane, is I just open the paper up, push on the outside right where the crease line is, very gently. And then I just guide the paper into place because I have found this to be more accurate. I can line this edge all the way up to the center line there, or the left, I should say, of this section. And then I do the same with above. I just guide the paper into place. It's fewer steps, but again, the reason I do it this way is for the accuracy. And then I'll do the same thing on this side where I'm just going to pop this open a little bit, push down. You might have to adjust, and then see how I can just position the paper into place. I find when I do it this way, the folding here becomes much more accurate and precise, tidier looking. And then the same this other end. Now these are all guideline creases. So on both sides, I want to unfold the paper. Just open them, fold it back to the squash fold like this. And the horse is one model where you do need to use scissors. See where that fold line is? That becomes a reference point right there. Because I'm going to take some scissors. You want to use something, if you're doing small like I am here, something with a fairly fine blade. And I'm going to cut all the way from the bottom straight up that fold line up to this reference point line where the horizontal fold intersects with the vertical crease line. And then I'll do it on the other side as well, where I just want to cut right up the center of the square to that reference point, like that. These will be the legs. The next step is to very gently, because this paper will tear here if you pull on it too hard, as I'm going to fold the paper back on itself right up to this outer corner so that it looks like this. And then I will do the same fold on the other side, right from the outer corner to where the paper splits apart right there. Again, being very careful because the paper will tear very easily at this point. Then I'll flip the model over, and I want to repeat that fold. The easiest way to do it, and is actually very important, is that this point and this point need to align. If one, like if this one was a little bit shorter like this, or a little longer, then your horse won't stand because it needs the legs to be the same length to stand straight. So it looks like this. Sorry for the glare. And then we'll do the same with this leg. So those are technically the hooves, the very top of the triangle. See, I'm aligning it very carefully and then just pressing the fold across here, putting my fingernail for a crease. And then I'm going to take one leg and fold it back upon itself this way. Like that. I might want to finesse it just a little bit, like that. Do the other side. Flip the model over. Do the other two legs, like this. Okay, so now I'll have 4 legs and a neck and a tail. And the way that you fold the neck and the tail is, I like to do the tail first. So let's say this is the rear end, this will be the head. I'm actually going to turn it around. I'm going to open this flap up a bit, and then I'm going to flatten this triangle down, bend it downward, and I'm going to invert the fold like this. So see how I'm pinching the tail together here. And I like to position it, you can make it go lower, you can make it go higher, but I like to position it right about where this double layer comes together. I usually do mine right there or a little bit higher, all the way to the center of the body, the back. And then I'll pinch it, put hard creases. To make the head and neck, I'm going to turn it around, flatten this other side, and I need to make a muzzle. And this is one of those rat folds where you just say right about there. You want to have it far enough back that the face is squared off. If you do it too close to the front, it will stay pointed looking. So this point aligns with where the center section is here. Put a hard crease, fold it open this up. I fold that section back, and now I want to go in here and push up to open where there's a guideline crease there, and then I'll fold that section shut again like this. Do it on the other side like that. So now see how the finish there is, it's straight across. Okay, so now I'm going to fold not all the way down to the center of the back like we did for the tail. Now I want to fold to about halfway down. This is going to create the head, and it's the same process where I'm going to flatten it downward, invert that fold by pinching the two sides. Now that's giving me a very small head, so I'm going to push with my fingernail, but you could use a toothpick or something else, and just move this fold further down. The further down it goes, and the further down on this line I bring the head, then the longer the head becomes, like that. I will pinch it, put hard creases in the neck main area there, and this is the origami horse. Thanks for dropping by the Tiny Gummy Studio, and a big thank you to my Patreon patrons and PayPal supporters who contribute for the time it takes to produce these videos. I really hope this tutorial will inspire your creativity, and you can find more videos at my Patreon page and frequent updates about what's going on at the studio at instagram.com/tinygummy.